I just watched 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, directed by Nia DaCosta and starring Ray Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, and Alfie Williams. This is a direct follow-up to last year's 28 Years Later, and is once again produced by Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, who made the original 28 Days Later. I made a reel on Instagram and TikTok at Films with Darcy, little cheeky plug. But this movie left a really lasting impression on me, so I really wanted to take the time to talk about it in a bit more detail. And so here we are. I'll try and keep it as non-spoilery as possible until the end, where I do want to talk about a couple of things. So where we left it off, Spike, played by Alfie Williams, had left Dr. Kelson, who was played by Ray Fiennes, and had just run into Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal and his fingers, a collection of followers that he picked up over time who were deeply loyal to him. This movie picks up straight behind that, but immediately you can tell that it's a different director. Where the previous film was directed by Danny Boyle himself and featured some really ingenious low-budget filming techniques, this takes a far more traditional approach, with a dynamic camera which is constantly panning across and in and out of the characters on screen. And to me, this is done because this film is far more character focused than the first. The rage virus infected zombies honestly take a back seat to this small cast of characters and what they're experiencing. The scope is reduced, and this may be tough for some. It is advertised as this studio horror, and I feel like audiences are going to get a scare and a laugh, but actually, to me, this is deeply a character piece on childhood trauma, the pressure placed on us by ourselves and others, and the power of empathy and compassion in a zombie movie, right? Like, what? It's crazy stuff. And it works. It works, at least for me. It's not going to connect with everyone, but I love a film that takes its time to sit and consider the world it exists in. And this couldn't be better exemplified than through Ray Fiennes' character, Dr. Kelson. His sweet melancholy throughout the whole movie is a scene stealer, as it was in the previous film. And getting to see how he channels his Hippocratic oath is honestly a thing of beauty and just so well written. Playing off him is Samson, played by Chi Lewis Parry, an alpha zombie who has shown signs of a higher intelligence in the past. And this bromance, I just never thought I'd see brew, but I'm here for it. I love it. So that's one aspect of the film. And then on the other hand, you have this plot that is occurring concurrently and is headed towards a collision course, and that is of the Jimmies and Spike. And wow, aren't we spoiled by having two Jack O'Connell villain performances in 2 years? He is genuinely excellent here. As a boy whose childhood religious trauma and the advent of the apocalypse never really allowed him to grow up. And I may even like this more than his Sinners performance. He's just delightfully evil. He's chewing lines, and when the cracks show through that facade, you can just see this pathetic child underneath. It's played so well. I also want to talk about Spike, Alfie Williams' character, briefly. Obviously, he turned out to be the main character of the previous film, and yet in this one, he does take a backseat. He still goes through a character arc. However, the focus is very much off of him, and I think that's okay. I still think he works really well in this cast of characters, and he is a living example of the pull between good and evil that human characters experience, that human people experience. He has these good influences in his life. He has these bad influences in his life. And it's up to him to decipher which is which and the path he wants to follow. And I really like that. This movie comes to a head in what I think is one of the most nuts final acts I can remember. There's this needle drop that is just so unbelievably good that it is completely worth the price of admission just to see that. This is a movie I will be going to see again and that I will be revisiting because it's actually the bridge in a trilogy. Yes, there is a third on the way, and here is where I might talk a couple of little spoilers, although I think it's pretty general knowledge at this point, but Cillian Murphy is back. He shows up right at the end here with his daughter, but no Naomi Harris, which is kind of weird. I guess they can't afford her as well. I don't really know the direction they're going to go without Kelson and Samson to drive them towards the cure, but I'm really excited to see what they cook up. I have faith in these guys now. Like, they have proven that they have this vision for this franchise, and I love it. I will briefly say, the moment Samson says moon, the audience in my viewing just gasped. What a moment. And if this isn't just the best representation of why we go to the movies, I don't know what is. Kelson's final sacrifice was a beautiful thing, and I cannot forget the words memento amoris, because I think it's beautiful that he never lost faith in the living, regardless of whether they were infected or not. If he hadn't had the compassion to treat the infected with as much empathy and as a regular human, the cure would never have been found. I'm all in on Hope Core movies. There's too much doom and gloom happening in the world at the moment. But anyway, ultimately, I had a great time in this movie. It's different to 28 years later, but no less good in my opinion. I love them for different things. This movie's pace is slower, and it really has a lot less zombie scenes in what is ultimately a zombie movie. And that works for me, but it may not work for everyone. And that's okay. There are plenty of zombie movies out there that can be watched and enjoyed for just being that. This, for me, is where horror is at its best, using the medium as a foundation and elevating the themes of the piece to leave you with a message, whether it's good or bad. But in this case, hopefully, one of how important it is to care about those around you, whether you know them or not. As I wrap up, I just have to say, it sucks that this and 28 years later last year don't get recognized in awards seasons at all. This is a beautifully shot film. It is beautifully acted. Its score is incredible, and I think its plot is really powerful. It's unfair that it is not put up there and considered against everything else, because even though it has this genre veneer placed over it, I think it's just a way for the film to get its financing and allow the storytellers to do something special with the subject matter. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you thought. I'd love to hear what you think. If you'd like, feel free to subscribe to me if you like this kind of thing. I want to make more videos like this, but I post reels on TikTok and Instagram for every single movie I see in the theater, and last year I saw 70. So if you want to keep up to date with that kind of thing, please follow me there at Films with Darcy. I also make news videos and just general movie stuff. I love it. I love it. So thank you for watching.